Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin show. Today is December the 29th, 2019. Strong hand, unconfiscatable. Bitcoin is next. Bitcoin, personal responsibility is the new counterculture. Deferral of gratification, conviction, golden age. Yes, we're about to enter it. Well, it's the 2020s, whatever you want to call it. Relentless, strive for greatness, people. Ambition, avoid mediocrity. We're going to talk about all of this today. I am so excited. First of all, check out last night's show. That was supposed to be the Beyond Bitcoin show with the Bitcoin Rabbi, but it morphed into this hybrid of a show. And I thought, I got to bring people the traditional Beyond Bitcoin show. So you're getting an extra show. This is your doubleheader Sunday, not your NFL doubleheader Sunday. No need to watch that since the Ravens are already. Anyway, but you'll get this show in the morning. Then much later tonight, we'll have the one Bitcoin show. But this is your Beyond Bitcoin show. So ask those questions in the chat. Do a super chat. Type in Bitcoin Meister, all one long word, or I can't see it, people. Also, and it changes colors. You'll notice if it changes colors. Come on now. And so Friday's This Week in Bitcoin show was unbelievable. It was a conclusion show for the year, predictions, all sorts of Lightning Network talk, especially the first 20 minutes. It is all linked to below. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt. Hello, my elite friends. Okay, let us start off with something from, I guess, mainstream culture that I find hilarious. And I got to tell you, it's going to make some money for whoever came up with this. Cameo.com. Have you heard of this before? Cameo.com. You pay, stars or former famous people, from baseball players to wrestlers to 70s sitcom people, they all sign up and you pay, they name a price for a little 1 minute or less clip. They will say anything that you tell them to say, like happy birthday, cousin John, or I hope you feel better, grandma. And I guess some of these guys are desperate for attention and desperate for money, and they're trying to revive their careers. Good for them. Good. I mean, if they need the money, this is a great. Ted DiBiase, the $1 million man. Now, you guys know I like that guy for obvious reasons. If you've been a long-time watcher of the show, you'll understand why. But he was a wrestler from back in the day, and I linked to his Cameo. Like, you see the ones he's prepared for other people. Hilarious stuff. He goes into character with his laugh, and it's only $75. I mean, I almost would pay for something like that. $75. But of course, I don't waste my money. But it's $75 to get a birthday wish from Ted DiBiase. It's pretty funny. He could charge more than that. He could charge $150. I mean, all sorts of. Adam Jones, the former center fielder of the Baltimore Orioles, he's even on there. I don't know if anybody signed up for him. He'll be playing in Japan this coming year. He was good in his day, though, but he's no Ted DiBiase in terms of popularity. I'll say that. So, hey, I love this. Such an innovative idea. It's probably been around for a few months. I just heard about it now. I don't like popular culture very much. I'm not into stars and worshiping them. But this is funny, and this is a way everybody benefits. I think everyone gets something out of this. And it's one of what the internet brings us is so many innovations and new ideas. So I really like that a lot. Pound that like button. So we'll start it off. Even I can appreciate. I mean, personal responsibility is the new counterculture, but some of the mainstream culture stuff like that, it's funny, man. It is, and they're making money. Good for them. Good for them. They're being productive. They're not complaining, at least, whoever's behind that. So speaking of complaining and scapegoating mentality, you really can see it in America this time of year in the NFL. I don't follow it. I don't know who's been fired, who's been hired, whatever. This is the time of the year everyone is blaming their coaches. Fire this coach, fire the Cowboys coach, fire the Giants coach, whoever it is. Fire. It's their fault. It's the players didn't play well. It's the Every year, though, I mean, sometimes the coaches might be really ignorant and draw up horrible plays, okay, whatever. But it's this every year. People are impatient with rebuilding, and you just see this is the default on it for everyone. Blame. They can't wait it out. They gotta find a specific person, and in the NFL, it is always fire the head coach. Fire the head coach, and that's not. It's a very reactionary way of dealing with things, and it does show the mob scapegoat, and everybody jumps on the bandwagon. Fire the coach, and it happens in baseball also, and usually it's the players, dudes. So it is a great example of the scapegoating mentality that really goes throughout life in general in the West. For those that are not in motion, people who are in motion, they don't need the scapegoat. People who are in motion don't need the scapegoat. People who are not in motion, they need the scapegoat like this. Okay. So it's that time of year, scapegoating time of the year. Let's see. We got people over there in the chat. Hey, another good day. Yes, it is. All right. If you got questions, you got to type in Bitcoin Meister. All right. Or do a super chat. Compete, don't complain. I like it. That's what I say. I got a lot of sayings, don't I? Now, I want to, this is going to seem really basic out there. It sounds really simple, but if you practice this, think, use that head of yours, keep it fresh. I mean, it could be a use it or lose it type of situation. Some people haven't thought for a long time. They don't think. Think, people. Use your head. Exercise that muscle, whatever you want to call that thing up there. And just don't blindly accept what the algorithm tells you. We've had shows about that recently. So many people, again, they go with the mob. Whatever the mob's saying, they don't think. Oh, yeah. Analyze the situation. Figure it out for yourself. Don't go with the mob. Don't go with the 80%. I know it seems real simple, but sometimes you might find yourself doing it. Like, why am I watching this video? Oh, YouTube suggested this video. That's why I'm watching. No, you're not thinking. That's the worst. When an algorithm is telling you what to do. I mean, that's worse than following a mob, isn't it? Blindly following something that's not even alive. But we're about to enter that in this golden age. You better be careful, people. All right, let's move on to some political stuff real quick. Now, there's a candidate, I mentioned him before, in a Democratic primary named Tom Steyer, who is a billionaire. He's not doing very well at all, but he is spending an incredible amount of money. And for me, that just is the perfect example. Why do we need campaign finance rules? Why can't someone in China give money to a campaign? Why can't someone in Russia give money? Why can't a billionaire sponsor someone else? Okay? Money doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. This guy's got, and Bloomberg's coming in now too with a lot of money. Is Bloomberg going to win? Is Steyer going to win? I know Steyer's not going to win. So regulation is the problem. With all these campaign finance regulations and all this paperwork you have to fill out, if you care about elections and all that, it actually stops people from running. It stops poor people from running. Okay, if you were a poor person and you wanted to run for governor, you get somebody to sponsor you, a billionaire to sponsor you, and you could get in. If you're just a regular poor person, you can't get a sponsor. You got to do so much more footwork to beg. You spend all your time begging. You spend all your time filling out paperwork. This is a perfect example of government regulation messing up something totally. So we're seeing it. But most people they hate billionaires. They hate rich people. So they think that they're going to have an advantage because they have a lot of money. No, that is not that. Look, use your head. Tom Steyer isn't becoming president. He's blowing wads and wads of money. So Politico has an article on this. Together, Tom Steyer and Michael Bloomberg have poured nearly $200 million into television and digital advertising alone, with the former New York mayor spending an unprecedented $120 million in roughly 3 weeks since he joined the presidential race. That's more than double the combined ad spending of every single non-billionaire candidate in the Democratic field this year. And he's going to lose. So, hey, if billionaires want to blow their money on elections, the election, it's an industry. Elections USA has become, so some people are making money off of it. Great. People are getting jobs because of this. Or they're pretty pointless jobs. I mean, I don't get caught up in this. I haven't seen a Bloomberg or Steyer ad yet. Not, you know why? Because I don't watch any TV, and I probably not going to the sites targeting, or I'm not seeing the things they're targeting. Who knows? They're probably trying to get the 80%ers. I don't go where the 80%ers go. They're trying to go where they think they can convince these follower type of minds. But I haven't seen their ads yet. I'm sure people have said that the Bloomberg ads are, if you're watching CNN at the airport, you see them all the time, or you see them at airports. I don't know. Maybe I'll see it at the next airport. I'm not going to be at the airport for quite some time, actually, because I'm taking the bus to El Paso, Texas. Yes, I paid $3 for that bus. I'm going to be in El Paso, Texas, starting January the 14th until February the 11th, and then LA until April. We'll talk about that in another show. Okay, so everything I talk about is linked to below. What else have we used? Someone says want shirt. If you can get shirts like this, they're all linked to below. Everything's linked to below. Season's greeting from the UK. Yes. Happy Hanukkah to all and to whatever you're celebrating. Definitely season's greetings. Now, and whatever you're celebrating, happy. Have a fun time with your families, whatever you're doing. Today is the 8th night of Hanukkah tonight. And again, if you want to learn about Hanukkah, watch yesterday's show with the Bitcoin Rabbi. And it was great. So speaking of a Jewish person, Yuval Noah Harari. He is Jewish. He was born Jewish, at least. He's in Israel, or he's an Israeli. Really smart guy. Talked about him before. Philosopher. Talks about the future, the AI, things we need to worry about. Now, again, he wants governments all to get together and develop a plan. He's centralized. He worships governments on a certain level, but he is a thinking man. I love his concept of the story. People buy into stories. He's not my I don't share the same politics with him. He is smart. I mentioned him before. He got interviewed by Russell Brand, another guy. I don't even know why Russell Brand's famous anymore. I forgot. Why is he famous? Why do I even know who he is? I forgot. It's so awesome that I don't even remember how he got famous. Maybe he was married to a hot woman once or something, or he was in movies. I don't know. What did he do? Or he says controversial things. Well, he's got a podcast. Never watched it before, but since Yuval was on it, I watched it. Now, Russell keeps begging him basically to talk about like tearing down the system and almost starting some type of socialist revolution for the people, the exploited people. But Yuval is not falling for it. He is not falling for it. He just talks about, we're about to experience a technical change in this world. We're moving very fast. We're evolving very fast in terms of technology, and we should think about it now so people don't end up useless in the future and people don't end up angry in the future. And it is good to talk about what is on the horizon. I agree. Now, do we need to force people to do certain things? No, we should talk about it. If we talk about it, we will naturally come up with solutions and ideas through the capitalistic process. Now, Russell Brand doesn't like capitalism at all. He calls it exploitation. I'm not going to get into his politics, but a very interesting point about this golden age that we're about to enter. There is a big difference between irrelevant people who are useless people. It's a bad word to call people, and the exploited. The exploited, that people who've been exploited in the past, they did have some leverage. They could form unions. They could quit because people needed the exploited. People needed those factory workers. People needed the cheap labor. They could just go on. They could go away. They could go on strike. They could go away. They were needed to run. Now, I'm not saying capitalism exploits people at all. I'm just talking about something they ended up talking about. When you are irrelevant, you're not needed at all. When you're useless, you can just be ignored. These people can be totally forgotten. So we're about to enter an age because of technology that some people, if they just choose to be welfare recipients and choose not to move, choose not to learn new technologies, choose not to change their ways, they will be useless people. This is, again, they're not forced to be useless people. Now, I think me, I'm not going to put words into their mouths, but maybe Russell thinks that people are going to be forced to be useless people. No, it's not fun. You always have an option. If you're an able-bodied person, in the future even, you do not have to be useless, okay? There will be opportunities out there to be productive, to be happy, but there will be easy ways to be useless also and just go on the government welfare or whatever it may be. But it will be very interesting in the future when maybe now we even have these totally irrelevant people. Like they have no leverage because they have no skills. They are not in motion at all. They choose to be whatever you want to call them. And they're going to be left behind. And don't be those people. But it is an interesting it's an interesting interview and interesting interaction. And I did if you make yourself irrelevant, you're going to have no leverage whatsoever. No leverage. That is being totally irrelevant. All right. So I hadn't really thought about that before, at least in those terms. Because again, since I'm in motion, I have no worries about being phased out or anything like that. I mean, we're Andrew Yang's solution, just giving everybody money. We'll see. No, that's they'll still be. That's just living off the government. Now, if they do nothing with that money, but if they do actually start, he says Andrew Yang thinks if you give people money, they're going to actually do stuff productive with it. A lot of people will just smoke weed all day. I mean, and become totally more useless than they already are. CryptoHWwallet giveaway. They're giving away. It's linked to below. I mentioned this on another video. Joseph out in Southern California, the owner of CryptoHWwallet, is giving away HW1s. There's the original Ledger wallets. You just click on the Twitter below and see what you have to do to get it. I don't even know, but I thought that was nice. I mean, if people want a free storage device from a trusted third party, there you go. Let's see. Increasing homelessness and poverty in LA is crazy to see. Tents on the sidewalk. Yeah, Robbie, I agree with you. When I'll be back in LA, it is crazy to see. It's amazing how a guy can just set up a tent right outside the freaking Sprouts on La Brea in south of West Hollywood. I mean, it's a nice area, and a dude just sets up a tent right catty corner to the Sprouts. Sprouts is a healthy out west. It's a healthy supermarket food store. But we're going to talk about that in a second. Now, I do want to say we just had the best decade in human history. Seriously. This is an article from something called The Spectator. They remind us that a lot of people have said for years and years, we're going to run out of resources, run out of gold, run out of this, run out of that. And we find replacements for those resources. And so many people predicted so much doom for the previous decade or this whatever, the teens that we're in. And it was the best. And we're going to enter an even better one now. So you can be a doomer and a gloomer. You can generate fear. And when you generate fear, people run to individuals they run to the government for solutions. They don't, when someone's scared, they no longer think they can create solutions, or they no longer think solutions are out there. We're going to get to that in a second. Real quick, this is a tweet from, I don't even know who this dude is. Forget about bike lanes and smart cities for a second. I know Jeet retweeted this. A simple test of, and this goes with LA here, a simple test of good urbanism is whether or not your children can make their own way to and from school safely or not on foot, using simple, dumb tech like human-scaled streets and paths. Yeah, that is awesome, because you've got cities like Baltimore who are like, oh yeah, well, we'll create some bike lanes and that'll make everything safe. It'll be a great city. And you know what? The bike lanes were and they can't even do that right in Baltimore. The bike lanes were good for the hipsters. They still get hit often by cars. And I have known a few hipsters in Baltimore who have been hit by cars because people drive so hard. It's so horrible in Baltimore. They don't respect bikers, which is unfortunate because that's deadly. I mean, your car, when you're in a car, it's a responsibility. Take personal responsibility. Don't hit the hot redhead hipster on the bike. And I knew she had fake red hair, not my ex-girlfriend, but another. My ex-girlfriend had real red hair. Another hipster that she wasn't. But anyway, the point is, I knew a fake red hair hipster got hit by a car, and she shouldn't have been hit by a car. I think her boyfriend actually got hit by a car. Here's the point. All right. besides Adam knowing a lot of hipsters in Baltimore and fake redheads and real redheads, is that a city like Tel Aviv, although they like their bike lanes also, I see kids walking to school there all the time. It is so safe. That's what you should aim for your city to be. Create a system, a mentality within yourself that you can spread to others where it's safe. Shun people who commit crimes. Get them out of there. Okay. Don't cater to the criminal class. And this is. Urbanism on one level, I guess, is a centrally controlled belief system. It's like, well, let's let the government tell us how the city is going to be shaped and how the streets are going to be, et cetera, et cetera. And it's kind of putting the government on a pedestal there. But this is the world we live in. If we're going to have the government on some sort of a pedestal, or if we're going to have some kind of public-private partnership that makes up good urbanism, or whatever you want to say, the goal should be, let's make this street safe for kids to walk to school, okay, whether it be private school or public school. Then you're doing things right, okay? Then just because you throw in a bunch of bike lanes, it doesn't mean things are, and you need a freaking smartphone to get around. That's that. Make it so that a kid can just walk to school without a smartphone, know how to get to school, and safely get back and forth. And there's a lot of places most places you can't do that anymore. LA, would you send your kid to walk to school? A short distance. There's some parts of LA, it's pretty, but then who knows? Is a tent city going to all of a sudden pop up? Who knows what's going on over there? Okay, so in that neighborhood where I hang, where I will be, there are many Orthodox Jews, and there are Orthodox Jewish schools. The kids live 2 blocks away, so those kids can walk to school actually when they live like that. But if they lived a longer distance away, you'd have a problem. All right, forget so. But hey, water. Here's a health tip. As you know, I drink 2 of these a day, 2 filled with water a day. You want to do it at least 2 hours before your meal. So this is way before my one. Remember, only 1 meal during the day. And you want to space them out too. You only want to have 1 of these per hour. You don't want to have 2 in an hour. So I had one, about 90 minutes ago. So now it's time for the other. I'll still need some. Obviously, I didn't finish it. Okay. So yeah, I'm like using my tip of the day to remind me that it's actually time to do something. Okay, Adam, thank you for sharing your views with fearless honesty. Unique beast. Pound that like button there. Rock solo. Yes, be a unique beast. I want all my people out there to be able to share their thoughts like this. Be in the Bitcoin overlay. Work for yourself. Know that you can't get fired. I can't get fired. Even if they shut down my bank account, who cares? I still have my Bitcoin. I could just start a new life. And when I say they, I mean it was I don't believe in they. When I just said they, I mean if for some reason the government officials in the United States became strict and said people who say things like Adam, they're not allowed to have bank accounts anymore. Bank of America, we're friends with you. Please shut down his bank account. Wells Fargo, please, the city, everybody that he's got bank accounts with. Maryland shut down his bank accounts, and then I have no bank. Who cares? You shut down the 8 bank accounts of mine. I still got that Bitcoin, baby, and that's why I know I could. And I'm not the United States. Maybe one day there'll be something like bail-ins. I don't think they would ever shut down my bank. Well, okay. You never say never, because they do shut down bank accounts of people who are involved in all sorts of organized criminality. I will say that. So in theory, the United States could declare what I do to be organized criminality one day, I guess. I don't foresee that though. I don't foresee that. But definitely other countries, heck yeah. So there will be bail-ins in other countries. There will be bank accounts that will be that's why just be in the Bitcoin overlay again. Okay, so we went to Bitcoin there for a second. So let's talk about golden age and cities, even more city stuff here. So this is about private cities, what I'm about to tell you about. Private urbanism. So I like this a lot. Milton Friedman's grandson named Patry Friedman, okay? He was on Scott Adams' show, and it's linked to below, the first part of it, You can watch it. I've heard about this before. It's called Pronomus, and everything about Patry and Pronomus, it's linked to below. They want to build, they ask countries permission to build their own cities in these countries. Like in Honduras, they're going to build a private city. And it's going to involve the Hondurans and everything, but they're going to be able to create their own rules and laws, and it won't be totally governed by the Hondurans. And it'll be able to be replicated in different countries. So it's cool. This dude, this is what we're entering in this new decade, the 2020s. If you believe this is the start of the new, I know the official start of the new decade is 2021, but we're getting into the 2020s, okay? Golden age. And so I like this Patry Freeman for putting it out. Apparently, a lot of people in Silicon Valley are sponsoring him. He mentioned some of the names, big names. And one of the names he mentions, by the way, is King of the Trolls. So I know King of the Trolls has been interested in building private cities for a while. I think that, I'm not a big fan of King of the Trolls, but apparently he's putting his money where his mouth is, and I support that. But Scott Adams said when Patry Freeman listed all the people, and one of the names he listed was King of the Trolls, Scott Adams was like, well, I think a lot of viewers right now, they might not know who all those people are. Those are some of the biggest names in Silicon Valley. And I'm like, dude, King of the Trolls is not a big name in Silicon Valley at all. You just made a big generalization. A lot of the people were, but I don't think Scott Adams knows who King of the Trolls is, because he would have said, if he understood how controversial of a figure King of the Trolls was, and he heard that name listed, he would have said, those are some of the biggest names in Silicon Valley, except for that last name, who is this cryptocurrency guy who is very, very controversial. Okay, so Scott Adams is not the expert in everything that he might convey to others. I think he does, and that's part of his persuasion, is to make it look like he knows more than he really does. But whatever, I give him a lot of credit for having this Patry Freeman on the show. And by the way, Jim the other day, and I think I'm going to mention this on tonight's One Bitcoin show, because it's hopefully be a doubleheader. It will be late tonight, but I got conviction. I got to do 2 shows in a day, baby. What the heck? Jim gave me a super chat the other day, and I went in on a show that was, and now Third Normal Form gave me a fist bump symbol, and he sent $3. So thank you, Third Normal Form, and thank you, Jim, the other day. And I appreciate all the support, dudes. Keep asking those questions. Oh, Lele said, all I have is 1 Bitcoin now. Is that enough? Well, Lele, that's better than your usual commentaries about my backside. I know you want to see my back. Do you want to see it, baby? You want to see it, Lele? No, but seriously, do you think you're going to be able to live off of that in the future? When do you intend to retire? Is that enough to live off of? If you intend to retire in 2040, how much do you think a Bitcoin is going to be worth in 2040? You think that's going to be able to sustain you? I mean, some people do believe that. Some people, I can't say. I aim for a much higher number of Bitcoin to get my retirement stash. Because when I created this, when I thought of, well, it was Vinny Lingham inspired partially, because he said by a certain date, a Bitcoin is going to be worth $3,000. And then I thought, well, how many Bitcoin I need if I really believe that's going to happen. And I got that many Bitcoin, and it was a good calculation there. So the amount you need to be comfortable and to live in the Bitcoin overlay, I have already attained that number a long time ago, and apparently it's going to be able to. At this rate, it'll be able to sustain all of my siblings' descendants. Also, they will never have to work if it continues to be the way on the trend. So I'll keep my fingers crossed about my descendants. And I mean, I don't have any kids yet, but if I have kids, they would get the Bitcoin before my siblings' children. But right now, I have nieces and nephews, and yeah, I planned it out pretty well, didn't I? But you can plan the same thing. So maybe you need 10 Bitcoin. Maybe you need 100 Bitcoin. I don't know. You got to do the math yourself. Okay. But for some, I mean, 1 Bitcoin, how about this? If you're a kid that was just born yesterday, well, that kid will be 30 years old in 2050. 2050, partying hard, 2050. Like, so in 2060, when they're 40, will one Bitcoin be enough to live off of? Maybe. I don't know. That's pretty interesting to think about it. But obviously, I'm not 0 years old. I got to determine it a little differently. All right. So we talked about the golden age. So now let's talk about fear again. Fear drives so much. It just drives so much in this world. And so there are a lot of people who want to fear China. And so they think China's so successful. Yaron Brooks has a video about this. And it's he's basically commentating on Senator Rubio from Florida, saying that the United States government should basically pick and choose industries to help and punish those that deal with China. It's fascism. I mean, he's talking about fascism. He's talking about replicating the Chinese model, which is fascism right now. They pick and choose winners. The government is behind so many endeavors over there, so many businesses over there. Now, sure, it looks like they're doing well now. China's doing well. But in the long run, are they going to be able to sustain that? Picking and choosing winners? No, they're not. And we shouldn't be in panic mode saying, yeah, we should be more like China. We need to pick and choose winners. We're scared. China, it's unfair. They're beating us. Oh, they're going to take over the world. There are individual businesses in China. Some of them are heavily invested in by the government. They're producing things that we want. Sure. How long are they going to be able to produce things that we want? I don't know. That doesn't mean that the United States should tell producers in the United States, no, we're going to do things more like China and we're going to interfere in what you're doing. Interference, as I said before, it distorts entire markets. So don't panic. Don't be scared of China. We should be going in the opposite direction of China, letting all the businesses in the United States be free without government intervention at all. And that is how we will beat China, because it's not we, it's individual businesses, it's entrepreneurs that are going to do well and produce value for everyone. And there'll be more and more abundance, the more freedom the producers in the United States have. So don't fear China. Don't fear anyone, because when you fear, you run to demagogues, you run to philosopher kings for the solutions. You don't come up with your own solutions anymore. You cede control to these philosopher kings and politicians and overlords, and it's the wrong direction. The Chinese system is not the best system. The true best system is true capitalism and freedom, which is what America leans toward now. But these speeches by that are critiqued in a glorious way by Yaron Brook, they're disturbing. They're disturbing. We don't need centralized philosopher kings. We don't need a centralized guidance from Marco Rubio. Americans are spoiled, and they won't move for good jobs, and they want the government to bring them the jobs. Okay? No, don't rely on the government just because you might not have a good job now. Just because things might be bad in Nebraska or wherever you are. I don't want to pick on Nebraska. West Virginia, move. Don't look for the government to have a centralized solution. Americans should not be looking for the government for solutions out of fear of what's going on in China. All right. And here, OPSEC classified sent $2. Thank you very much. He says, hello, friends. Yes. Hello, my elite friends. So moving on. But Americans, a lot of Americans are sick with self-hatred. A lot of the West is sick with self-hatred, okay? So, I mean, the title of this was, 2020. So I'm giving you some different perspective on directions people are going into the 2020s, trends that are in the 2020s. Some are really glorious. Some are fear. People are always going to be scared. Don't jump on that fear bandwagon, though. But people, the self-hatred, and I know it's a strong word, that's in the West. People can no longer envision greatness for themselves. They don't understand why people would want to improve themselves anymore, and why mankind would want to test boundaries and learn. People are very comfortable, and they get stuck on purpose, almost. I mean, they're like, yeah, I've reached this level, got the wife, got the kids, that's it. And then I'm stopping. I'm not trying to better myself anymore. I got the white picket fence. I'm in debt, whatever, but I'm fitting in. And then envy forms because they see other people. There are people that are doing better, and they think that's unfair. It's unfair. Why are they striving for greatness? And popular culture tells you it's horrible to be a billionaire. It's horrible to strive to even get more money when you're already rich. If you're already a millionaire, you're evil if you're trying to become a billionaire. If you're the Winklevi brothers, you're evil for trying to become the richest people in the history of the world. That's what that people vilify the Winklevi so much. I think what they're doing is great. They're using cryptocurrency. They want to become the first trillionaires on the planet Earth. God willing, it happens. God, pound that like button, because if they become trillionaires, that their Bitcoin stash is going to be worth a lot. And that's good for all of us Bitcoin holders. Okay. But that's the thing. So I'm not envious of people like that. I do not have self-hatred for myself, like saying, oh, I'm horrible, I shouldn't try to do well. No, I want to do as best as possible. I want mankind to strive for greatness. But we are living in this sick world now where people don't think greatness is something to be admired, that innovation is not to be admired, that the government just can come up with solutions. No, it's the private industry. It's the minds. It's the people who strive for greatness that change this freaking world. So test your boundaries. You need to remember how rare the people who strive for greatness are, though. Okay, those are the true elites of the world. When I say my elite friends, I think that you guys are in motion and that you guys are striving for greatness. And since there are so few left, because the West is stuck in this self-hatred mentality, vilification of success mentality, you are so way ahead. You're going to be able to do so much. So I talked to the Bitcoin Rabbi last night about how he's got this great attitude, and he's only been around the space for less than 2 years. He's met all these people. It's because he's positive. He's created this book. He's done well off of it. And there's other opportunities. By the way, if you speak Portuguese, contact the Bitcoin Rabbi. You could be a distributor of his book, translate it. You could make money off of this idea. Okay, that's the point. Be positive, strive for greatness, and what a better world it would be if everyone could dream bigger and of great and to have greater lives, and to actually be in motion to try to do it, instead of being jealous of other people that have more and just saying, government, you should take away from them. That will solve the problem. Government, I'm jealous of the billionaire, so take away from him and redistribute. Oh, no. That is the opposite. But so many of you watching this, you've got that positive attitude of being in motion, and that makes you so way ahead of these people. So many of the complainers and the envious people, and way ahead of the people who are about to become useless. And yeah. All right. So moving back to Scott Adams. I mentioned this on another show because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get a Beyond Bitcoin show in before the end of the year. Scott Adams is a guy who says, make predictions, show how accurate you can be. Now, I'm not that big of a prediction maker, but I want to make a prediction about Scott Adams. He has been talking about that he's going to make his videos are entertaining. Okay, I give him that. The reason I watch his videos is because it does give you some thinking outside the box ideas, like that Patrick Freeman thing I mentioned. Okay, if you're thinking while you're watching Scott Adams, if you're just not like mindlessly watching and picking your nose and just saying, "Oh, I'm becoming a better person because I'm picking my nose and I see this bald guy on YouTube." No, if you're actually understanding and thinking about some of the things he's saying, some very good outside of the box ideas. They're not always right, but they can inspire you. And some have inspired me. But so he says he's about to do a series of shows with his girlfriend. Now, she has recently, just in the last few days, become his fiancée. Scott Adams is over 60 years old, and his fiancée is in her early 30s, and she has 2 children by another man. Okay? Now, I predicted on the show, one of my regular One Bitcoin shows, and I'm predicting it again so you all hear it, because I made the prediction a little early because I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it today, as I just repeated, that Scott Adams would do the show with his girlfriend, and he would either totally erase his first one or start removing it from Twitter. Something would be pulled down. And again, he hasn't made the show yet. but because he is going to get insulted up the yin yang, and he's not going to be able to take it. He's just not going to be able to take the social media criticism. So something involving the first show, he is going to erase or remove, and that's something I do not do. I do not erase my shows, no matter how controversial. Now, again, there was a show that once had a music in it. That I took down because I didn't want to get a copyright strike or something like that. That didn't have anything to do with Bitcoin. But again, if I don't remove anything that is, not going to ruin my channel. What I'm saying he's going to do is just censor himself, erase something from history that doesn't need to be erased from history. So I predict now, since I made that prediction a couple of days ago, he has taken it to the next level. And I want to, and said, and he's going to marry this woman. Now, let us go back. And this is an example. I don't want to pick on the dude or anything, but he is supposed to be a very smart man. He is a smart man. He has attained a lot of success. His Dilbert comic, he's written books. He's rich. He lives in Silicon Valley in a bubble of sorts. He is already divorced. He's been divorced once. And with that woman, she had a child by another man. And that child became a teenager and unfortunately died of a fentanyl overdose, became a drug addict, and died probably of a fentanyl overdose. And this has affected Scott Adams. Scott Adams, whenever he talks about China, he starts cursing, and he's not very logical about China. Now, he doesn't want the United States to replicate China, I'll tell you that. He talks all these grand things like he's going to make individuals in America decouple from China. Now, individuals in America, they don't care about China doing. Now, China's doing horrible things to their people. There's no doubt about it. But people who shop at Walmart, they don't care about that. They just want cheap stuff. But beyond the point. So my point is, Scott Adams has been affected very much by this very horrible tragedy that happened in his life. That was avoidable if he didn't. When you marry someone that already has a kid, that kid isn't going to be like you, okay, genetically at all. And they're probably not going to listen to you very much either because you're not their father. And so you can go on a roller coaster of a lot of drama, and it can end horribly like that. So he's getting himself into a situation now where he's going to inherit two other kids. He could end up divorced again. And this woman is really young. And what I just learned, which is sickening, and this is sickening, a year ago when Scott Adams' stepson died of that overdose, this woman who he's about to marry broke up with him on Twitter. And what's that say about a person like that? What's that say? But obviously she got back together with him again. But this man suffers a tragedy that cannot even be explained. A tragedy that is really, again, because he was a nice guy, he got into that situation. And his girlfriend at the time, his hot girlfriend, dumps him on Twitter because she's not getting it, probably because he wasn't giving her attention. He was crying that his stepson had died horribly. And then this woman, and now a year later, he's supposed to be smart. He's supposed to be a genius. Look, even genius, smart guys, they fall for it over and over again. You see the same thing happening. You see, this is worse. He's going to get together with a woman who shamed him online, who embarrassed him, who humiliated him, who clearly wants attention. And by the way, this woman who he's marrying, she's one of those like pinup girls on Pinterest, or I don't even know. I don't know the names of the things. She's supposedly a model, okay? And she wears a lot of makeup apparently. And so she likes men admiring her. That's what she loves attention from her looks. So is this going to end well for Scott Adams? Does he have a prenuptial? Is he going to have a prenuptial? How smart is he? It's sad. It's really, really, really sad. So guys, use your brains. Don't think about that guy. When a woman, there is no excuse. He should have, when she broke up with him on Twitter, why even get back with her at that point a year ago? Okay. Why even do that? You were a rich millionaire. But there must be a self-esteem issue. There must be that he values his wealth in women. In that type of, he needs to have a woman. No matter how horribly she abused him. And that is abuse. That is horrible mental abuse. No man should take, none of you should ever take that. If you have a tragedy in your life, and then the woman breaks up with you, and then you don't go begging for her again. Don't go begging for her. No, she clearly is an attention seeker. I'm not going to use the word, okay? Don't get stuck with these attention seekers. And this doesn't just happen to rich white dudes either. No. I know of a black man in the Baltimore area a little younger than Scott Adams. He was divorced. He married a woman just to have company. This woman verbally abuses him. It's horrible. It puts him down. And his son is also a drug addict, ended up in the hospital, almost died in the hospital. So the man comes to take care of his dying son, almost dying son in the hospital. His wife becomes angry at him in the hospital because he was sitting next to his ex-wife. Because the ex-wife is the mother of the child that's suffering in the hospital. This is the attention. So it can happen to you if you're a regular black man. It can happen to you if you're a rich white man. This is happening all the time. And I've rambled on about this for a while, but I think it's really important. I think it's I can't believe Scott Adams doesn't even see that he's doing this. And this is please learn from this. Please learn from. Don't end up like this dude. Do not end up like this dude. And I know some men are thinking like, well, how could someone be so heartless? How could a woman be so heartless? Yes, they could be this heartless. Be it a black woman in Baltimore County or some rich, hot woman in Silicon Valley. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it is. They can be heartless because some of them just care. They value their wealth in attention. And if their man isn't giving them attention, and you better believe it too, that these same type of women, they're the first ones to cheat too. Because we're not going to go down this anymore. Okay. I think you've gotten the point. I guess good luck to Scott Adams. I hope you got a prenuptial, dude. It's not going to end well for you. What else do we have here? Okay. No other questions. So we got all sorts of we got some funny guys in there. You guys should watch all the funny guys in there quoting the Bible or something. You watched yesterday's show. That's for you. That was biblical yesterday. It was biblical. Bitcoin Rabbi. Okay. Moving on. So we talked about Scott Adams. I'm going to talk about this on probably tonight's show real quick. I told you that I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a Bitcoiner. And we just experienced where the algorithm punished a lot of people with cryptocurrency YouTube channels. They revamped the algorithm at YouTube, and it started giving people strikes and not allowing them to upload stuff. Everybody thought it was a conspiracy. All these people are screaming. They're picking on the crypto YouTubers. Oh, YouTube doesn't like cryptocurrency. And with me, I was saying it's the algorithm. They try to tighten the algorithm to make it safer for children. You shouldn't be reliant on this algorithm. You should have backups. You clearly, you dudes are YouTubers and not Bitcoiners because all you care about is getting out your show on YouTube. And now that the algorithm that you used to just write these like Litecoin, $1 million by 2021, those things that trigger the algorithm. Now that the algorithm is against you, you're crying like a baby and saying it's a conspiracy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, lo and behold, 5 days later, everybody's been reinstated, whatever. They fixed the algorithm. The algorithm was doing something they didn't intend it to do. It wasn't just affecting cryptocurrency people. But I want to point something out to you guys so you know the difference between a Bitcoiner and a YouTuber. For 50 hours during that time period, I also had a strike. I also was not allowed to upload. Did you hear me talk about that at all? Did it stop me? Are the people listening to this on my podcast now, did you have any clue that anything had changed? The people who watch my videos, there's been a new video every day. There's been tweeted out every day. Everything's been out there. Now, if you go to disruptnightster.com, you'll see it's all the correct amount of videos. Dude, that's the difference right there, man. I'm a Bitcoiner. I do not rely on the YouTube at all. Didn't make a difference. There was 50 hours that I had some magical strike against me. Didn't start screaming. I didn't want to be associated with those people at all. And I'm glad I'm not. So, I mean, but the thing, so now they'll go play their little, they'll make their Litecoin videos and Ripple videos again. And I'll make my Bitcoin videos. But just remember this time period and who was screaming and crying like a baby and who wasn't. So who is an employee of YouTube and who works for themselves, okay? Who's an employee of the algorithm and who works for themselves? So there's your difference. If you didn't get what a Bitcoiner is and what a YouTuber is, well, you're probably never going to get it. But I think we've just seen the ultimate example of that. All right. So, and I'll probably talk about that in the show later tonight. College then and now. This is linked to below. 45% fewer 18 to 29-year-olds say a college education is very important than they did in 2013. So 40% fewer 18 to 29-year-olds are saying that college education is very important compared to 2013. That's a huge change in something so basic in just 6 years. Yep. Yes. Now, just because they say a college education is not very important now, does that mean they're not going to, they still don't want to fit in and they're not going to buy it? Yeah, probably most of them are still. But we're trending toward a situation where eventually people are going to break away from, they're just not going to care anymore about fitting in. And it isn't going to be very important for them. They are going to go their own way. They're going to learn things online. So this is the beginning. But I'm saying the 80%ers, the people who probably shouldn't even go to college, they're going to be the ones still pumping up the price of college because they just want to fit in. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to University of Southwestern, Eastern, Central Arizona. Yes, look at me. I got this paper and now I can't get a job, but I got a paper. You should give me a job, right? All right, but so some of the more elite thinkers out there, they're into this realm where they're like, nah, I'm not down with this anymore. But will they act upon it? We shall see. 2020 should be interesting. Doug Casey, speaking of, I love to bring up these Doug Casey headlines from his spam newsletter that I get. Our best minds say gold is the place to be in 2020. Oh, he will never stop. He will go to his grave saying that stuff. Remember that, people. There are going to be people that it's their thing. They know how to make something clickbait. They know how to make people scared. Gold is old, dude. If you and again, remember gold. Doug Casey has gotten into cryptocurrency also. So, but he's still talking that big gold game for all his gold friends. Got to keep up that keep up that reputation. But it is ridiculous at this point. You'll need gold when everything falls apart in this technologically advanced decade we're about to enter. Yeah, sure. Hey, but the headlines keep on coming and they are hilarious. Our best minds say gold is the place to be. Who are our best minds? Please. Tika Takarari, the guy in Florida that has the fake newsletter or whatever that you employ or that you're associated with. Tika Takatuka. All right. Best. Here we go. So we were just talking about YouTubers. All right. Now, again, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a Bitcoiner. I'm a guy who likes Bitcoin. That's my thing. I hold Bitcoin. If YouTube were to go off the face of the earth, I'd be fine. I mean, I'm set. The YouTubers, though, there are many, many people out there that create content, all sorts of content. They rely on YouTube. If the algorithm does something to them, they're going to be broke. They're going to be laying on the street. I don't know what they're going to be doing. Okay. It's their employer. Okay, fine. It's your employer. As long as people know the difference in our space, which few do, few take the time to actually think about, the difference between the hottie talking about Ripple and, Vortex talking about Bitcoin. There's a big difference, but most people don't care. They'd rather just, be enthralled with the hottie. And that's why they end up like Scott Adams also. But so moving on, so Hollywood is huge in America. All right. YouTubers are now huge in America. Musicians, entertainment type of stuff. It's fluff. It's social media. Well, guess what? The 80%er world pays for it. Okay. So many people rip on America. Well, America produces nothing anymore. It doesn't produce any iron and it doesn't build skyscrapers. It's got to get the Chinese to do this, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's going down the tubes. Dudes, the 80%ers have spoken. The mindless have spoken. They pay a pretty penny for anything involved with America, okay? And people in other countries can make these mindless YouTube videos. Some do. But the entertainment industry is so centered in America. Online, Hollywood, music, and all the world, they pay for it. Are they going to stop paying for it? No. The 80%ers are going to do what they're going to do. So people try to say it's an illegitimate industry, entertainment, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. Why don't the people in your country do it? And it generates And why do the people in your country buy it from us, from America, okay, from the American producers? So do I want to make movies in Hollywood? Do I want to make dirty rap songs? No. Do I buy that stuff? No. Is it a legitimate industry? Yes, it is. It is legitimate, and it is. And this, if Americans keep on doing that, and the whole world keeps on buying it, which they are, good for them. Good for those individuals. They shouldn't be guilted into, I guess, going on welfare or not doing that anymore. I don't know. If that's the only thing they can do, that they're being productive. You might not like that type of productivity, and you might insult America for that, or Americans, should I say, that Americans are just these mindless. They're creating dirty videos. They're creating dirty movies. Oh, it's so we need to think. And yeah, so think. Watch the smart YouTube videos. Watch PBS. Do that. You compete. Don't complain. But I people predicting America's downfall because of this culture that is centered around so many superficial aspects of life. No, they're getting rich off of it. These individuals are getting rich off of it. I'm not saying to participate in it. I'm definitely not participating in it. But it is people, again, people insult Americans for this type of stuff. Oh, look at those fat Americans. They're producing this, and the world freaking wants it. All right. Finally, the last, I'm no fan of Hollywood, but LA is LA, man. It's there. It's not going away because people all over this world love what's coming out of LA. And you can complain again about Kim Kardashian and what's his name? Her husband, Kanye. I wouldn't buy their stuff, but the whole world's buying this. They love it. They love it. This is what America produces. Oh, well. Compete. Don't complain. Stop buying it. Stop buying it if you don't like it, but they like it. Here's a 3-year-old story. It's from South Africa, and it shows you government, why you don't want to be involved in government education. They lowered the passing mark for mathematics to 20%. 3 years ago, if you got 20% right, you passed in South Africa, apparently, in their public schools. It's linked to below. It just shows you, man, government education. You're not getting educated if you're going to a government school, or if someone from a government school in South Africa shows you a diploma, that doesn't mean very much if you're trying to hire them for something that involves some basic mathematics. That is an interest that just shows you what a wacky, wild world we live in when 20% can be considered a passing grade in a pretty legitimate country. Again, and it just shows you the insanity of centrally controlled, political correctness when that takes over a country. It's still, there are dudes in South Africa that are very productive, and I guess they got to give their own test when they're hiring people. But in South Africa, you are forced to. There are laws that force you to hire certain ethnicities, certain. There's a huge affirmative action, powerful in affirmative action laws over there. So you'll probably get stuck with some 20%er. And when I say that's a bad 20%er, the one who only got a 20 on their math test, that's real bad. So going back to things, pound that like button. New show here every day. There's going to be one later in the day. Spread the word. Thanks a lot, dudes, for all the support. We're about to enter this golden age. Be a 20%er. Compete. Don't complain. We've got all these scapegoaters out there. They're the most, it's sad, but leave them in the dust. That's the awesome thing. When you're in motion, you leave those scapegoaters in the dust just to like roll around in the dirt with each other. And that's how they get their entertainment and jollies. Compete, don't complain, ignore them. All right, I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember, subscribe to this channel, like the video, share this video, check out the links below. Keep it positive, like the Bitcoin Rabbi said last night. Be the light. I like that one too, man. It's all about the positivity of this 2020s that we're about to enter. I'm really extending this show because I'm so darn happy about it. And we did it in less than an hour. See you later tonight. Pound it. Bang that bell button. I'll say hi to you dudes in the chat. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.